the mentors is like, I will share this code to you. Okay. Please make sure that with the help of this code you can assign some tasks to the students, like how to start a web page. Like instead of sharing the direct code with them, I feel like you can give this task individually, like how to start with the header, footer, middle section. Mostly I have used HTML5 tags, so accordingly you can use HTML4 tags as well. So this is one of the assignment that I have done. This will help you out in developing a web page from starting to ending. So on clicking of this link in the associates, you can perform whatever action. So this kind of navigation is achieved through JavaScript. Okay, that will be that your mentors can explain out. And I will show you one more example here. So this is another how the structure of a, you can have your style.css, place all your images here, your JS file and your libraries, whatever the libraries you are going to utilize, like jQuery libraries or JavaScript libraries, which are not custom, which are not developed by. To take the image of this web page, okay, and students, please try to start coding by yourself. If you have any doubts, you can check with your mentor, like how to use the position left and I can give you some overview. Start your web page with a container. Okay, you start your page with a container. Some div class is equal to container. So inside the container, you can have the left portion, like your one div which has the DSS. Okay, and another span or something having Hadoop, and give float left for this. And if you take another div, you can have some float right for that, and you can have a ULLI elements floated left. Okay, these are like kind of ULLI elements which are floated left, so that's why it came one beside the other. And within this itself, you can have your so here carefully observe, you will have some position absolute relative concepts also involved here. And clear both property also, please go through the how clear both property is used. When you use the floats, it is always required to have a clear both property for proper alignment. Okay, inside your header container, you have some container, left portion, right portion. You have to clear the div when you are using a float lefts and float rights. So this portion has the background image, and these are all hidden divs. Okay, you have a footer here. Okay, footer is center aligned. So try to use margins, padding. So whatever concepts we have discussed now are all covered mostly in this example. Okay. Please ping me if you have any doubts here, so that I can respond you. You can even beautify this page. This is a sample page that I have made. You can have some gradients as well. CSS has beautiful colors, mixture of colors. Okay. These are all we are using in our real time. Okay. We have a website called CSS Gradient Generator. Okay. I'll share this with you. So with the help of this, we will be able to get the respective shades and all we adjust here. So in real time, we can pick like what kind of gradient we want. So this is the syntax actually how we write. For different browsers, we have different syntaxes. Like it will give a shade from top light to bottom dark color and all. So this is my jQuery code actually. JS, this is not JavaScript. This is my jQuery. So in jQuery, we'll start with document.ready. So it may not be helpful for your examinations at this point of time, but in future it will be very useful for you. Like how do you code in the jQuery and all. You can have a JavaScript JS as well. Mentors, please help them out in providing the JS code in a JavaScript. So I have provided jQuery because it will not be present like currently. It will be helpful for you maybe in future. So jQuery is nothing but it's a library of JavaScript only. Once you are familiar with JavaScript, here the concept will be same, but just a way of representing will be different. Like for example, you start your JS file with document.ready. Document.ready means when once your web page, then your execution starts. So dollar is a notation of the jQuery language. So this is again click function here. Generally you write on click in your JavaScript. Here we will write dollar of whatever elements ul first child, li first child. Like in ul first child means the whatever the child that is present inside the parent which is coming first. On click what should happen? Dot css of display block means that particular css is applied. In JavaScript how do we do is like dot style is equal to document dot get element by id dot style something you will write, right? Instead of that in jQuery we will write dot css of as it is a css property. Otherwise if you want to add a class dynamically you will write dot add class here. So jQuery also has certain methods which will help you to achieve the functionality. So also remember like in JS file you can keep the breakpoints like this which will helpful for you in debugging your code. Okay. Suppose I have put some breakpoint here or somewhere here. While I am running the program at one point of time, your code will stop here. See, after this you will do this. So next, which function it is moving? Okay, it will help us out in understanding like where it is actually stopping and what is the content inside that particular element. Okay, here it will show. So this base, if there is any error, so then immediately you will get to know like where the error is exactly. So debugging is very important, even Java or JavaScript anywhere. So the important points are like first you need to know the proper structure of starting a web page. You need to have appropriate doc types, next your root element, your title tag and all, and then a clear distinction, like you should have a main container div. Inside it again you have to split your page into three parts: header, body and footer. Okay, for header you can have div class is equal to header, or HTML5 has an attribute called header directly. Then inside the header you can have some left portion, right portion accordingly, if you have a middle portion also. So the code should be easily understandable, and you can also mention the comments. You know how to write a comment in HTML, right? And JavaScript you will have a multi-line like slash star and all. In HTML you will have a angular brace, exclamatory mark and all. So mention appropriate comments so that whenever some other person is joining your team, it will be helpful while code transition and all those things. And use like different class, like if you have IDs and classes in your page, have only one unique ID. That is, one ID should be there in the entire page, and classes you can repeat accordingly. Please do not repeat IDs. Even if you repeat IDs, it will be reflected in your web page. You will get the output as well, but it will affect your performance. Page performance will be affected when you are writing some very big applications. Okay. So coding standards are very important when while you are doing the actual implementation. So this is basically how do you do. And folder structure, always maintain all the images are in a one folder, JS files, next HTML, CSS files and all. And when you are doing any JSON things, try to have your local server. So when you are trying to learn PHP or Perl, then you will get more understanding on the server side things. Okay. So this kind of shade effects and all are achieved using the CSS3. You can slowly, like maybe after your exams or sometime whenever you are free, just go through the new CSS3 like elements and all. You have transitions. So many new attributes have been added here in CSS3, which we are using in our real time. So HTML5, CSS3, JavaScript, if you are very good at these three technologies, then you can easily jump to some Bootstrap or Angular. JavaScript is the basic foundation where you have to be very clear about the objects. How do you extend your objects? Okay, that is very important. That is the base. On top of it, you can learn many frameworks like React JS, okay, Angular JS and all. So I'll just provide you the list of new technologies. First is your always first goes your JS, and then Bootstrap is a framework which has the custom CSS things which will reduce your code and you can deliver the build in less time. Angular JS, this is an MVC. Just try to explore on MVC patterns as well. This is an MVVM pattern. Try to explore these things in future. So let's wait for the other faculty to join. In the meanwhile, if you have any doubts, just ping me. I can respond to it. I'll be just on mute. about the UI, user interface, right? So before user interface, we have one more thing called as UX. UX is nothing but user experience. See, there will be a separate team who will be designing the templates and providing this template to the development team so that we will start developing our code. So there is a team called a UX team separately, and who will help design this how the web page should be, like how the elements should be in a web page using the software called as Photoshop. So everyone might have heard of this, right? Adobe Photoshop. There is a beautiful career for this as well. This is a current demand in the market. Adobe Photoshop. If you can learn Adobe Photoshop and you can create some using your creativity, you can develop the uh, wireframes. We call it as wireframes. Wireframes are there are certain topics in UX. You can simply go to online and just check out what are the different UX things you have. Of the documents of our digital enterprise. So we have actually worked on certain technologies like mobile technologies. So this is a mobile app development technologies that we are working on currently: jQuery, Sencha, PhoneGap, Cordova. So this is just a basic overview. I just want to give you for your future reference. And these are the mobile testing things we have, like device anywhere. So these are a kind of softwares we are using. So here you can see the list of front-end technologies, right? HTML5, CSS3, jQuery, AngularJS, Bootstrap, Backbone.js, Ajax, EXT.js, Node.js. All these things are we are currently using in our real-time projects. So web platform solutions, we again from backend perspective, we have .NET, Drupal, Adobe CQ5 and all those things. We have worked on and we got appreciations. So these are the key trends, like we have worked on smart watches and glasses. Uh, you might have heard of Internet of Things. So this is some of mobility offerings we have. Like TCS have inbuilt products like TCS Dreamer, Event Mastro. We have some individual own products. So we have certain strategies set up how to handle all the projects and all. We have worked on smartwatches as well as sensors and beacons, which is most of IoT things. And mobile platforms, like we use Android technologies, iOS, as well as Windows also we support. So these are some of the case studies, whatever the projects which we have earlier worked on. Like we have a great large marathon app, 2014 TCS NYC marathon app. This is New York. This is one of the other mobile project. So if you can see on the right side, you have certain screens, right? So initially these will be designed by our UX team, user experience team. They will understand the client location domain and get to understand what the actual requirement of the client. Based on that, they will develop the wireframes, and then wireframes are nothing but a rough sketch initially. Then after the rough sketch, they will convert using a into an actual screen with the help of Adobe Photoshop. And with the Photoshop, we'll get this images, everything. Like we will take this as a copy and start our real-time development with all the softwares. So UX team plays a key role here because they have to interact with the client and get the requirements very clear, like what is actually required from end, and then we'll start with the development. So this is all about, these are the web applications and all. So these are the appreciations that we got from a client. So these are the number of clients we have worked on. Okay.
And we have been using Perl there. Perl is basically a scripting language, and we have been using it in different projects. Especially as Perl is, it's a scripting language. Most of the time, it is widely used, especially in terms of, whenever you want to test something, where you want to test, especially for at least development of test cases, test frameworks, etc. As we go in deep, I'll let you know what are the different ways that we have been using it. But just to start with, so we'll go with the basics. We're starting with who invented Perl and what are the different syntax utilities that we have with respect to Perl, and how we can really utilize it to fasten our development or testing skills, etc. So, as I just told you, like Perl is widely used across many platforms. So here, according to the syllabus that is given to us and what the slide shows us, Perl is widely used for communication gateway interface, that is called CGI programming. And then Perl is useful in other contexts. So it's worthwhile additions to programmer's toolbox. So that's what it theoretically says, but as I've already discussed with you very clearly, that it is one of the tool given, a powerful tool given for a programmer or a tester, whoever wants to automate with his unit test cases, or really he wants to do some test framework testing and stuff. Now, what are the origins and uses of Perl? Especially this was developed by Larry Wall. So, especially when they were trying to work with several Unix utilities, meaning here AWAK, SET, grep. These are different utilities, SH related to shell programming. So whenever they were working with different Unix utilities, so Larry Wall thought that they will develop some interpreter language. That's wherein the birth of Perl has taken place. Especially the most powerful technique with respect to Perl is the pattern matching that we can already see here, as I highlight here, right? So Perl's pattern matching. So this is basically the most powerful utility in Perl, and this is also inherited by other languages. Even today Java, let's take Python, whatever the different languages that we take, they still use Perl's libraries for pattern matching. So what is a pattern matching? I'll let you know later. But to be very specific and easy to understand is, pattern matching is something like you want to match a pattern. Let's say you have set of lines. Hello, how are you? For example, if this is a line that you want to match from a given file. So you can retrieve that text using a pattern. There is some different methods, which kind of patterns you have to use and all. As we go in depth, we can look into that. So that's what is pattern matching. So today, a lot of searches we are doing across files. We do a lot of search and try to find out some words, what is more interest to us. If there is 1,000 pages of file or a document that you are reading, suddenly you want to find something. So all the search patterns and all, they use this pattern matching. Find and replace, for example, they all use a pattern matching. So we'll discuss more in depth on that. Now, coming more with the basics of Perl, it starts with the term called scalars and the operations that we have on them. So most of you are, I think, aware of, or you might have got some sessions with respect to Java or C is what I'm assuming. So if you look at data types in C or in Java maybe, so where similar to those data types, we call them as scalars with respect to Perl. Perl has three categories of variables or values: scalars, arrays, and hashes. So a variable for each category are distinguished by the first symbol in the variable name. What is that first symbol? As I told, if it is a scalar, then it will start with dollar symbol. Now, if it is an array, then it is with respect to at the rate. If it is with hash, it is with the percentage symbol. So what is a hash? What is it? You might have already heard of array, but I doubt if you have heard of scalar and hash. But these are, so that is scalars, arrays, and hashes. So this is what is they are defined with. So the moment you see in your program or when you're writing a Perl program, if I say $x, so that clearly says that it is a scalar variable. So here you might be astonished, unlike in C, I don't find what is an integer, I do not find a string, I do not find a float or stuff. So here we don't have to worry on those things because this is an interpreter language and Perl is a high level language too, which is internally written with respect to the C libraries and on. So all this, the biggest problems that we have with respect to C, or for example, the problems when I say is a developer's headache, right? Whenever you want to allocate some memory, you have to use a lot of the constraints you have to take. You have to use pointers in C, for example. You have to take a lot of measures when you're writing a program. You should be well aware of whether the memory is allocated or not allocated. If the memory is not allocated, you have to check for it and then allocate a memory while you're writing a program as a developer. And then after your program is done, you have to make sure that memory is deleted so that it is available for other programs to come up. So, excuse me, all such stuff you have to take care with respect to C, C++ or whatever. But now with respect to Perl, because it's a very high level language, we need not have to bother on how much memory I have to allocate, how much, should I really delete the memory after the usage and all. Because Perl internally takes care of such things. So here, as I said, there are three different variables that we have. That is scalar, which is indicated with a dollar symbol. Similarly, you can have at the rate for an array, and then percentage for hash. So right now we will just go with the names. We'll see what they are exactly as we go on. Now scalars come in three kinds. That is numbers, character strings, and references. I was just telling you as in the example, right? That you need not have to bother where is the string, what is an integer and stuff. The moment you say $x is equal to 10, it becomes a number. Means that $x is a variable of integer type that you need not have to specify. The system knows it. The moment you say, Perl interpreter knows it. The moment you say $x is equal to, in a single quote, for example, you say A, then it becomes a character. And if you take in a double quote, then it becomes a string. And similarly, you also have references. We will discuss what is a reference a little later. So numbers are stored internally as double precision float points. Okay. So note that the strings are considered scalars in Perl. So this is the important catch that we have. Strings are also treated as scalars.
Any example of you can type it and show the rest?
As a language that I'm saying here. For example, if I say $x is equals to 10. So this indicates that this is a a number, right? 10 is a number, so it's a kind of integer. If I say $x is equals to hi, hello world. So this is still a scalar, but this is taken as the string is still a scalar, but this is still a string. So $x. So we need not something else. You have to define it in terms of array and all. So here you don't have to worry on that. Similarly, if I say at the rate hello, so this becomes an array. So I can store, what is an array? Simpler data types, right? So I can store something like this. And whenever you want to retrieve something, you can retrieve $hello of 0 or 1. Then you will get the elements like this. We'll discuss more on this again. Similarly, hashes, for example, I can define it as hash. Then assign some values to that. I'll discuss more on how you are assigning how the values and all later. But for example, if I say L colon 10, something like that, we'll discuss later on this. $x is equal to 10, $x is equal to 10.0, or $x is equal to 5.2. So these are different kinds of scalars that we generally assign to the variable. For example, as I told, $x is equal to 10 is an integer, $x is equal to 10.2 is a float. So floating point literals have either decimal point or an exponent or both, as I just indicated. So 10.2, when I said, it implies it is a automatically the interpreter will treat it as a floating scalar. String literals can be delimited by single quotes or double quotes. Single quote delimiters do not allow any substitutions, no escape characters, no variable interpolations and stuff. So what is an interpolation? What is this escape sequence? We will discuss later. Don't get confused with that. So single quote delimiters do not allow any substitutions. That's what you can remember. So because we know that single literals means a single quote, for example, right? What does a single quote indicate? It is a literal, a single character. So single character, we cannot substitute anything there. But a string, we can, yes, replace something. So double quote delimiters allow substitutions. That's what displays. So whenever you want to substitute hello with hello world, still you can do some substitution because it's a string. But the moment I put it as a single quote, you will not be able to do it because it reads as a single literal, one single literal or character. The moment it is in single quote. Okay, so escape characters and for variable interpolations. So what is a variable interpolations? We'll see later. Basically, interpolation is nothing but mix of different combinations. So what is that? We can think later. Now, string literals. So the letter Q is used to introduce a literal single quoted string bounded by an arbitrary character. So here we are seeing an example here. So how is he doing it? Q dollar ABCDEF dollar. Similarly, the letter pair GG here is used to introduce a literal double quoted string bounded by an arbitrary character. So if the beginning delimiter is one of like either the parenthesis or this less than greater than symbol here, similarly the square braces or the curly braces, the matching delimiter must be automatically this. Means what does it mean? Whenever if the delimiter is curly, simple braces, then you should always close it with the right brace like this. Similarly, if it is this one, a less than symbol, then it will be closed by a greater than symbol, followed by same square braces, left square brace, right square brace. So basically these are delimiters. Means what does this mean? They are trying to tell the interpreter that whatever are between these simple braces, for example, or less than, greater than, or square brace, whatever. They are treated as they are the delimiters between the string or whatever you are trying to give. So whenever it encounters a simple brace, it will also simple left brace, for example. It will also try to check for what is a closing brace. Then whatever is in between that all, it will take as a single or a set of parameters or a single parameter. So if that is not given, then it will throw an error. I found a left match, but I could not find a right match. Then it will give an interpreter the error itself. So whenever we are trying to define anything between these special characters, we have to make sure that we are also closing them. And similarly, there is also something called null string in Perl, which is something, the null string is nothing but kind of space. So if you do a single quote or a double quotes, the in between is some single space. So that can be treated as a null string, or sometimes they call it also as empty string. So as indicated, scalar variable names begin with a dollar followed by letters, digits, or underscores. And moreover, these are case sensitive. Conventionally, programmers define names do not use uppercase letters. So that is just a convention. Most of the time, whenever people are using, they try to use uppercase letters, especially for some reserved words and stuff. That is generally a convention, not hard by any rule. It's not bound by any rules. But now, as I said, case sensitive. So when you say dollar small x is equal to 10, it is different from dollar capital X is equal to 10. So if you do operations of small x, again you try to use capital X somewhere, then it will expectations. So as I just meant, maybe we can have a small example like this. Now if I say instead of small x, if I print $x, it will not print anything because it doesn't know. It will say unknown identifier. I don't know about capital X because this is small x, this is capital X. Okay. I will run it through the interpreter. Today we have a small technical problem. That is the reason I'm not able to run directly on the interpreter. But from tomorrow on, we'll make sure that we can run the examples live and also see what is the output. Okay. So what does this mean? If $x has a value 3, for example, then value of x is $x becomes value of x is 3. I was just telling in the previous slide that we will see what is an interpolation. So it is nothing but a mixing of different types of variables and strings and trying to get the output in the format what we need. So what is he doing here in this example? If $x has the value 3, then for example he is doing the print. Let's suppose value of x is $x. Actually, if you look into this, this is completely a string, correct? But in the previous slides, because why it is a string? Because it is all into double quotes. But in the previous slide, we also learned that a string can be interpolated. It can also be replaced and substituted, right? Where was that? Let me go to the previous slide. Yeah, double quoted delimiters allow substitution for escape characters and for variable interpolation. This was the formula or the base rule that we have seen. That's what is being implemented here. So if we say $x has a value 3, then value of $x is, value of x is $x. So automatically what the interpreter is doing, whenever it is finding a scalar variable which is $x, it is trying to search what is $x value. So earlier we might have already defined $x has a value 3, correct? So it is saying when it is during the print time, value of x is 3. So unlike in C and all, right, you have to do, scanf or printf, then they have the placeholders for that. You say $x, $1, and then you try to represent it. So we don't have to do all that here. Directly, whatever you want to print. So I can write the same example in the notepad and show you. So I will have a double quote. The value of my scalar is, the moment I say $x, it is not treating $x anymore as a string. Ideally, what it is supposed to do in other languages and all, it will have to print like the value of my scalar is $x. But because interpolation is allowed, interpolation is what I told, mixing of different combinations of escape sequences, scalars, along with the double quoted string. Therefore, the moment the interpreter comes here, it reads, it knows that the function is print, so automatically it will try to print this, but it will try to print up to here. But $x is a variable, then it will look up, okay, what is $x? It is 10. So in your print statement, what is the value you will get? The, sorry, the value of my scalar is 10. This is how you get it. So here my is actually, because I have set the notepad in with respect to language Perl, my is generally used whenever you want to use a local variable. We will see what local variable and a global variable is. So therefore, the moment it encountered this, it treated it as a special word, and therefore it has highlighted it in blue color. Something like print here, right? It is a keyword, it's a function, inbuilt function. So my is also has got a separate reserved word in Perl. That's why it is thinking that my scalar is some reserved variable. So forget about this, because this is generally part of output, not here. I'm just typing for you how the output looks. Not to confuse you, this is how I get it. So output is the value of my scalar is 10. This is how you get it. Clear? What just now we have seen this example. So here they have given 3, we have taken 10. So for example, if you say $x and you leave it, if you have not assigned $x is equal to 3 or anything, then what it will do? By default, the interpreter will assign, if it is like integer $x or $x, then sometimes if it is used in the integer context, it will use that as undef, converts to 0 automatically. How does that happen? Let's take this example again. And if it's a string, it should treat it as a null string. So if value for this, okay, the moment it based on the operation that I use, if I say $x plus 1, automatically what it will do, because I am adding this with a integer literal, this $x is not defined any value here. So if it is not defined, the comments we can use hash for commenting section. So $x will be like undef, because I have not used any or assigned any value to this. But the moment I say $x plus 1, because I'm adding it with an integer, it will automatically assign value as 0 for $x. But if I try to do the same thing like $x plus hello, so what is happening here? Hello is a string. Then what is it plus doing here? Can we add 2 strings with a plus symbol? Generally we know that according to mathematics, we have plus symbol only for addition. But here also it is adding, but what is it called in programming language? Concatenation. So the moment you say $x plus hello, it will say, because it's an empty string, it will just print hello as output, because this is an empty string, there's nothing. Similarly, when the moment you try to print this value $x plus 1, because it is 0, so 0 plus 1, it will try to give you 1. So based on the context, if you have not defined anything with $x, it will take that. Okay, fine. So I think try to close here at a logical point and break for tomorrow's class. Okay. So the last line says Perl has a large number of predefined variables. So many are named with special characters such as dollar underscore, dollar, caret symbol. So what is the special characters? How they are helpful to us? Because they are inbuilt predefined variables. That's what it says. So you cannot use it according to your wish. They have a predefined meaning. Based on that only, we will be able to use it in the respective context. So we will see further how we have you are using a string. How do you get the string operations done? What are the different functions available in the strings, or what are the strings that you define? There will be some different functions. So how do you want to use those? Similarly, assign statements, keyboard inputs, standard outputs, all such more stuff is exciting things are about to come. So we will see more in depth to the what we can from tomorrow's class. Okay, so hope you're all able to follow my instructions clearly, and thank you for today. Have a good day.